Ah, damn it. Hey everyone, how's it going? Just cursing and swearing. I found the little piece of plastic that it was missing off that Toshiba from last night, but that's okay. It ended up being quite fine with the JB World. So that went to its owner this evening, and they're all very happy with that. Nice and fast, cool, just like a new one. Only better now because it's got a solid state drive in it. Just clean up this desk a little bit more. Okay, Awara Trikan 1971, Guten Tag. Okay, trying to make things marginally presentable on the workbench here, which is near impossible as anyone knows. It's a margarita, vigilante, cornflakes. That's a pretty hilarious name. What do they do? Attack you and jump out of the bowl, take you down? Do they waterboard you with milk? Hey Jessica, Adele. Okay, alright, let's get in. Hey Pernov. Sorry if I've missed anyone here. So we've got a 1502 and supposedly no display on it. It's had some prior work on it, but just see what we got. See what we're dealing with. We've got no display. We've got no backlight, or I don't know. It might help if I turn on the power supply. Current seems good. Hey Nuno. Stockholm's. Pretty sure I can feel the fan going. Seems to be charging. Not getting a bong. I think I'll just put this straight into disassembling it. See what we're dealing with. If there was a bong, I didn't hear it, but if other people heard it, that's good. No, lost a screw down into the carpet. Carpet's the worst. Once I own this property, this carpet is going to get ripped out. It'll probably require some sort of hazmat setup because I dare say the lead levels will be insane. But yeah, the trouble with the carpet is once you drop something down there, then the carpet snares it and keeps it for itself. And it only yields up an old part if you give it a new part. So now that I've dropped that screw down there, I'll be able to find something that I lost weeks or months ago. Trouble is, it's not really a first in, first out scenario. It's more of a random selection. Whoa, that trackpad connector is botched. That's going to be fun. April how? What am I looking at here? This is very weird. Okay, broken battery connector. That's easy enough to happen. That's not a good thing. That will have to be changed out. Alright, let's get this thing to pieces. Battery needs replacing. It's got a really bad cell there. It's actually developed a puncture, and then it's got a bullseye type defect around it. I'll show you that later. Andrew Hughes. Yeah, it must be a 1 terabyte SSD is my guess, yeah. I just don't see him that often. I've seen them on 13. Oh, wow, sorry about that peak then. Seen them on 1398s, but never on a 1502 before. I mean, I realise they are available, but it's just not a common sort of common entry. Okay, I don't know what I'm looking at here in my glasses. I would have thought this should be a Phillips, but it looks like it's a ground out something. Yep, that's been chewed way out. Okay. We've got a missing screw down here. I take note of these things verbally so that at least when I'm putting it back together, I don't get caught off guard. Okay, missing the compression pad off the top there. That backlight connector looks like it's actually been replaced. I could be wrong, but in fact this board, this eco sticker here, whatever it is, that makes me think this is actually some third-party refurbish board. It's not an Apple refurb. I could be wrong, but I've never seen a sticker like that for Apple. And the screws all feel fractionally too short. Like they've put 1466 screws in or something. I don't know. It ain't right. Something's not right here. Yeah, that screw is... I don't know what they've done to that, but that can't be reused. Hey, Pada? Okay, and I don't know how I'm going to get this out cleanly. Very hard to get these keyboard flexes out if you don't have... this is going to be a train wreck. Just got that feel about it. There's some marks down here, but that's this thing's been through the wars. Got a sticker on it. Hey Yindi, how's it going? Finally started putting my website and my logo onto these stickers. Figured it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to do that. Oh wow, you can see where the battery blew it. The battery has basically tried to kill off. You can see that mark there. That's from the battery venting. So that battery's got to be replaced as well. But I'll see if the person wants to do it themselves or what. Yeah, I knew I forgot something. The final sticker goes on to the parts bin. Hey Pedro. Yes, Nemesis. Okay. Get the glasses off. We're going to get serious now. Let's hope the camera... Wow, that camera is... It's almost like it's switched back into 422 mode. Damn right, it's 422 mode. How the heck? It should be YOV 12. There we go. That's much better. Yeah, that backlight connector has indeed probably been replaced. And yeah, these stickers do not make any sense to me. Pionov, have you got any opinion on them? Apple or some third party? I'll put $5 on third party. Oh, blimey heck. Yeah, David, 422 does give a nice color, but then the trouble is YouTube doesn't honor it anyway. YouTube just discards it, converts it to YOV12 or YV12 or whatever. So it's pointless. I hope not, Yindi. I just want to make my money and run. Ah, yay! Let's just spread the flippin' paste everywhere. Okay, this connector has been replaced and it's been replaced poorly. Yeah, thanks, Pernov. I didn't think it had the look of. Look at this. See I can stick my. Okay, if you're gonna replace these connectors, do it properly, please. That is not good. I mean, okay, to be fair, all of these probably are connected. We may be able to just bond this down properly. It's a bit tricky, but we'll have a shot. Let's see what the backlight driver's like. Hasn't been touched by the looks of it. I don't even know what board I'm dealing with here. Is this 3476. Okay. Is this job 151? Eight two. Okay, it looks like I've done something with my. Okay, that's better. Have the bad card to fix and try to become it. What? Don't understand quite what's going on there. Well, I suppose the first thing I'm really going to wonder is this actually generating an image? And if it is, okay, fine, then we can work on the display output situation. And if it's not displaying an image, then that's going to be unfortunate. It did, wow, free soldable. Got to collect them all. Yeah, that's going to have to be changed, otherwise it's going to be intermittent when it's in use, because there's not enough clamping action, particularly for something like that. It looks like they might have replaced something around here, because they've melted that and that. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's getting a bit tricky trying to work out the story of what's happened beyond, let's see, U8300 from a donor board apparently got replaced. No idea where the solder ball came from. Okay, sorry, what was that? U8300. People again, I should know what that is, but I don't. Ah, okay, yeah, alright, it was down here. It's this little chap. That you can't see. Yeah, this little chap here. It's actually getting warm in here. Yes, finally got over 22,000. That was a little bit sluggish to get there. No, the U8300 is just simply a switch, that's all. Just enables power to go to the panel. Alright. What I'm going to do is take the, what do you call it, Thunderbolt output and see if I get an image. Now let's fan, so we need to be upside down. Okay, that's that. We also need a MagSafe connector. Okay. Power. HDMI. Well, at least we got a fan spin. Hi, Victor Young. It's certainly like drawing an amp now that it's some hope. Stockholm's, if only it was that case. I forgot to plug in the chipmunk. The chipmunk will at least let us know if there's at least CPU activity, if nothing else. Should have had something by now. Marcelino, mostly because with PC laptops, predominantly people just don't want to pay the money to repair them. Alrighty, we have got no CPU activity, so chances are that's the real fault. We're drawing an amp, which I would say seems a little excessive. Yeah, I don't think we've got a display output issue. I think we've maybe got a CPU issue. Well, boot issue rather. Let's try it again. And see if we get a blinky blink. Tell me if you see it blink, because I don't always see it. La 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 la. Not getting anything. Take a look around the JTAG connector. It looked burned or corroded. Let's see if we've got any PP bus. Or what is our PP bus, rather? .6. Yeah, we really don't have a blink here. So yeah, I'd say that's our first and foremost issue. Fantastic. There's no real issues there. Blink 182, isn't that some sort of popular band or something? My apologies if I've offended people. Right, at this point I'm looking for a hint as to what the hell went wrong. So we're getting to an SO state. I would say let's remove the thermal, the heatsink, and see what tale of woe we've got underneath there. Hopefully we do not have a cracked PCH. Hopefully. Really don't want to crack PCH on this. Ah, they are event. Okay. Near the LCD SSD is connected. I'm not sure which one. I don't fix these often. Did you try to reprogram the UFI? Nope. No. Touching the BIOS is pretty much the last thing I'll ever try and do. Occasionally it is the fault, but yeah, not right now. Especially when it hasn't already been modified. That said, this is an unknown board, so who knows. But I'm still going to leave it till last. Rehot the SMC. But even if it was the bus, surely I'd get some sort of activity showing up on the blinky. Well, there's... yeah. There's some funny lumps under here that I'm not used to. So pull up that black plastic. Alright, looks intact for now. Pedro, yeah, usually it is pretty obvious. When you get a properly cracked PCA, it's just distinctly obvious. You'll either... The place where they can hide out that catches you off guard is there'll be a fine hairline crack along this beige coloured sort of fillet, or you'll just have a single little pinhole punch out. That can be the slightly harder ones to detect. Yeah, I'm just trying to work out what the heck was done up here and why. That certainly didn't seem conductive. Man. Actually, maybe this might survive. It's not ideal, but it is at least... I don't know. We'll get the thing running first before we go any further. This is pretty messed up in here. Basically, I am looking for something that would inhibit the CB from coming up. Something that would have caused the original condition that then led the person to redo the switch. Yeah, what's going on here? It looks like we've got some crazy people tonight. What is a simp? No idea. Simpleton? This does, I will confess, look like it has been... This looks more like it's been pulled from a donor, as opposed to being an original. But I could be mistaken. Okay, that you look a little... You look way off kilter there. For a reflow, you don't really look like you make sense. I mean, you are bonded. Well. Yeah, Kenny, that's a pretty good indication As you said, when the spammers start turning up. This here looks like it's been messed with as well. So I think what I'm fighting here is, I'd say this board was refurbished by a third party, put into this machine, and then has had its failure. But this here is temperature sensing, I think. So I'm kind of, and they look like they've probably been replaced. I've just got that, yeah, this whole area is, oh man. This is the trouble when you're working with a, yeah, this is probably bought off eBay or something. It has a new replacement board. I mean, you could think Apple quality is bad enough with their refurbs, but for the most part, third parties are even worse. And this, why is this being messed with here? Yeah, confused. Alright, I think I might have to go through and do a voltage check and see what's missing, if anything's missing. This may not get finished tonight. The call of the ice cream and Deadwood might draw me a little sooner than my patience for this board. Pardon me. Farnell, that's a pretty coincidental name. It's almost like yours. That's interesting. How do you... That's got to be tricky though. I mean, that's the trouble with working on eBay, is that it's very hard to differentiate yourself from the scum buckets. Yeah, let's see. Paul put the wrong screw in there. Fortunately, I didn't torque it down or anything. Hey Sonia, how's it going? And Jackson Cheong, who's he? What have we got going on here? What's going on? Okay, that was just the nightly bank transfer letting me know how much I drew in for the day. Wasn't really a very profitable day today, but to be fair, it is a Sunday, but that's irrelevant. Right. Oh, that just dropped out. Okay, we got something intermittent going on. Let's see if it does it again. Something not quite making contact, something not being stable, and that took it all the way back, made it reboot. 400 watching. I'd say about 370 of them are spammers. So, but anyway, 400, well, if they watch the advert, I'm fine. What is that connector near the LCD SSD? That is the keyboard backlight connector. You're talking about this little one here. Yeah, it's keyboard backlight. It's a very annoying one. It's one that I have to send to to Pedro. I have not forgotten about what you need sent. I just haven't done it yet. It's the weekend, for God's sake. I'm curious to see whether this drops out again. Yep, it did. That is interesting behavior. Okay, what are we after? 3476. Hopefully I've got a couple of them. I don't normally move BIOSes on these boards, so 3476, I should have one of them. And lo and behold, this one does not have a BIOS on it. Yeah, well, the 900 is a little on the high side. I'll definitely give you that. 4924 is not a viable option, nor is another 4924. So what do you reckon? We should get the old camera, the thermal camera out and have a look-see? 3476. Again, no BIOS. Well, that sucks. Oh, come on. It's going to be hilarious if I really don't have any BIOS. 3476 with a BIOS. Okay, so we do have one that has a BIOS if we have to. Anyway. So we've got roughly 18 watts being used here. I'm just not sure if that's normal or not. Hello, Abdullah Ahmed. YouTube prompting me again. What do you mean by that? Oh, you mean is in... Well, I'll go get a camera, just have a look, okay? Promoting, right. Did I read that wrong? Oh, it is too. Yeah, I read it wrong. Sorry about that. I'll be back. Yeah, it's still sitting at 18 watts. Okay. I cannot quite recall the correct orientation for this at the moment. I guess we'll just have to try it and see. And where has my USB-C cable gone? Not you. It's the trouble when you don't have the workshop exactly how you want, is that you invariably, if you don't use something every single day or multiple times a day, it sort of tends to get lost amongst all the trash. And so every time you do have to use it, it's a bit of a rigmarole. That's that. And I'm going to need my USB-C power because this would likely not be charged. Probably not going to see anything at all. I don't think it's out of the ordinary. I think it's just... but we'll have a look. Crikey, I can barely even remember how to run the software. Oops. Let alone even where it is. Lucky me, I actually did it as a script, so therefore it works properly. Let's see, Alt. So here we go. There we are. Okay. Okay, it's getting pretty hot over here by the MOSFETs. That's about the hottest spot, the MOSFETs. Which isn't entirely unusual. Hello. That, on the other hand, is far more interesting. And then again, maybe it's just a fact that the fan is working so hard and it's a very small package that this here is the rubber block. So, yeah, it's the rubber block that contains the controller for the fan. How much voltage is the CPU getting? Yeah, good question. It seems like we've got weirdos abound for sure tonight. The fan is going flat, chat. 1.75 volts CPU. It's actually pretty high. Hey, Jim Allen. Hate YouTube, but happy to support you. Well, thank you very much for that, Jim, for overriding your distaste in something. Okay, let's flip this over. Let's see if we've got any different stories to tell on this side. Yeah, we seem to have a bit of heat up here. The heat in this area is normal. That is the CPU backside. But that fan is just losing its head completely. Yeah. Hey, yummy steak. Alright. I'll do it for the camera for now. It didn't reveal a significant amount of information. CPU is running pretty heavy. So we could have a dead CPU maybe. Hey Jeff P. Let's see what our CPU resistance is. Hate to be a pain, is it possible to move the voltage down a little? Nah, not right now. Nope. Sorry. Why can't you see it anyway, James? It's sort of like top left. What's obstructing it? $43 ohms, that's actually pretty high. Yeah, this is going to be a troll board. Could it be a bad SMC? I don't know. Bugger. Send me insane. Mr. Sharma seems to be talking trash there. Nobody's birthday that I know of, is it? Did you try dump bias? No. Yep, start down the rabbit hole. Okay. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is actually take that LCD switch off. Basically, the usual sort of behavior you have when you've got unknown scenarios is you undo the work done by the predecessor. Not always, but it often helps. So we get rid of that. It's not essential at this point. Lots of trolls. Sunday. How does U2 say it? Sunday, beeping Sunday. You know, I actually shouldn't do that, because what will happen is the handle on that will get hot enough to melt the plastic, and then I'll melt the connector. Yeah, I'll do. Oh wow, that just came right off anyway. I don't expect any change, but I do want to just see what's going on. And then I'm going to take the display connector off as well. This shutdown thing it does after about 5 seconds is kind of strange. I don't know what to make of that behavior. I don't know what it's expecting or what it's trying to do at that time point. But yeah, we're going to take this off. I'm guessing this was done by the refurbs. Whoever did the refurb. So we'll get that off. We don't trust it. And it's not essential for us to have this at this point. Now the chances of this connector doing anything at all in terms of causing the CPU not to work, I'd say are pretty minimal. But again, like I said, I'm just trying to eliminate variables. Yeah, they had one of the proper ones too. Hey, is that a FJV? No. For a moment then my brain told me that said FRU, and I was like, oh, it's a field replacement unit, but it's not. Band's been 5 seconds shut down, a few seconds comes back up. Usually not a good sign. Could it be issue of platform reset, SPI ROM, SMC, CPU? Oh yeah, I've just named the simplest things. Fixing a 1369 DCM board, cable no backlight. Pelnova, I appreciate you being here while you're also concurrently doing that, but you've got the brain power to be able to do things concurrently like that. So yeah, no time off for you. You've got that great big throbbing brain that knows everything, so you are forced, you're obligated to help out. I'm kind of curious that these get so hot. And this is definitely a flippin' troll board. And again, since we removed it, we're going to test it again, but like I said, I'm not expecting any change. This is strictly a case so I can sort of go piece by piece, verify that nothing's changed, then do the next piece. Okay, nothing changed there. Just going to take this plastic adhesive cover off. I want to get a full look at everything. Victor Young, yeah, it could be. I guess we'll see. Like I said, I'm just going to go step by step. Yeah, even if people declare at the start something that it ends up being, you can never know for sure at the time. It's kind of like people who, well, it's when you like guess the lotto numbers. It's like, because you guess the lotto numbers doesn't mean that you're a person who can predict the future. You just happen to get the right numbers. Anyway, but of course there are people who genuinely can also tell what's wrong with boards. But anyway, at this point, we've got a lot of possibilities. Just clean up that trash. We're going to change the BIOS next. Okay, we actually have a change of behavior now. No, I just washed that area and pulled that off, and we're not getting any power up anymore. We get a bit of a blip blip and then nothing. That's interesting. So it's either just what I meddled around with there, or it's something around here. Yep, you have to follow your own thought train. Otherwise you get, you fall off the rails of your own, sorry, just... I do not like that resistor. Yeah, Stockholm's, there was some thermal compound there. Now the reason why I'm looking at this section is because I removed the tape or whatever it is that covers it. And I'm wondering whether I bent something off a pad. So if you look at that resistor, that's almost off. Was that a crack line there? The one next to it. Yeah, I'm wondering whether this is a crack. It is. That's a crack. See how I'm able to move that just slightly? Then again, maybe it's just me being forceful. It kind of moved a little bit too much like something's dodgy there. Well, it's not straight, but I mean, not straight is normal enough, but it shouldn't really move like it just did. I don't know why I'm doing this because it's lead-free solder, so yeah, so that just flowed in. Let's just see if they come good now. Hey, Lexi. More JB World needed, I do agree. The Dodgy Brothers, that was them, yeah. Good old Dodgy Brothers. Oh, it's the 95826, okay. That's probably a red herring, but well, let's give it a whirl, eh? Power's back up. Come on, give me a green. Damn. Down she goes again. Maybe I should just redo that area. It just feels messy in this area. I'm gonna go over and redo a few things. Oh, flux, for goodness sake, Paul. It's going to be frustrating if this one is 100% fixed because I won't have my smoking gun. And you know how I'm paranoid about not having that. Alright, let's see how that goes. I'm a little disappointed that we weren't able to maintain the completely dead state. I perhaps shouldn't have meddled with... because now we're back to this intermediate state. Alright. Okay, let's see. I think it was one of these two. So that was for the CPU regulator. Oh joy. Yeah, that's not much fun. I might just replace that chip. Still don't have much hope for it. Alright, well I'll tell you what, I'll do the BIOS, swap that, and if that doesn't come good, I'll replace the ISL chippy. That's the CPU VREG one. Shooting in the dark here. The only reason I am going for this at the moment is simply because of the fact that, well, it looks like it had been meddled with. And it is not an original or a official refurb. Must not lose that chip. Cyber, the board views and everything actually come, you just get them off places like badcaps.net. Flexboard view you buy off my website, but it does not, for legal reasons, it doesn't come with board views or anything like that. Looking at how shiny this solder is, I'm thinking that's actually leaded already. Yeah, you're not exactly a pretty chip either. In fact, you're pretty damn disgusting. Yeah, Jim, no, it's not a challenge board. Pin of this CPU resistance was 48 ohms. I'm not sure I want to use this one actually now I'm looking at it. It's got some burnout in there or corrosion. We'll flip it over and have a look. Oh, that's really disgusting. Yeah, I don't think we'll use that one. We've got to find ourselves another one. Ooh, we got one. And this is a... Wow, mess job, yep. Come on, sit down. Something's going wrong there, that's... At least I think so. It just feels like that's lifted up a little bit, not sure why. Yeah, that's definitely lifted up. Something's stuck under there. Something insoluble. Something that won't melt and something that... That's crazy. Well, it definitely didn't want to sit down, that's for sure. You see that one? It's now sitting down properly. Lewis, it depends on the chip itself. Some chips do have a natural tendency to flow in on their own, others do not. Things like SMCs, BGAs, they do tend to jump on their orientations correctly. QFNs and things like that, less so, they tend to be a bit unpredictable. Two-pad parts like resistors and caps generally will always flow on okay. So here we go. Expecting unknown. Okay, that's interesting. Power's all over the place now. It'll pulse periodically. It's trying to come up. That's really weird. Okay, maybe I've got a problem with one of the resistors or something around that circuit area. So what are we... let's get rid of the JTAG. I am not really a big proponent of eliminating the JTAG, but in this instance, I will remove it. Yeah, it does look like SPI ROM, but I'm just going to get rid of the JTAG because it is directly on the opposite side. But I agree with you, Pernov, it does look like SPI ROM. One of the resistors, or one of the traces, or goodness knows what. But we'll eliminate this just in case. But we'll do it gently. I mean, we're not animals. We can do things nicely. Lewis would not be proud because I didn't butcher it. I can actually probably still take that connector and use it. Alright, so it wasn't the JTAG. In which case, we basically now have to look around the SPI ROM area and see if we've got a bad resistor or something. Hey, Trevor Meyer from Kiribati Island. Whereabouts is Kiribati Island so I don't have to go Google it? That Pacific region or somewhere else? Well, we may as well take this one off and put the original back on. Yeah, it's kind of funny, I say the Pacific region, but then when you think about it, the Pacific region, that's just massive. So I guess I should say, are you closer to places like Hawaii or Australia or... that is a rather large range. Is that meant to be populated? But again, we're looking for something that should have failed just now, not... Yeah, that's good. The problem is not electrical, but EFI of the card has a problem because it is corrupt. But then we're getting the same behavior on both. And that second one should have at least given us different behavior, perhaps. Well, I can always try read the ROM from the original. I guess we'll do that now. I'll get my ROM reader. See if I can get the data off it, just as a precaution. Damn it, where's my holder? I have one of those prototyping boards that I use as a holder so that I can stick that chip holder into it and keep it stable. Because naturally I can't find the damn thing right now. It's going to be so good when I get a big workshop. Then I can lose things over even greater distances. Ah, there it is. Where are you? Cable. I need one of those large, the bread loaf cables. I know it's not the official term, but bread loaf for that end connector there. Because it looks like the end of a bread loaf. Or a loaf of bread. There should be one around. And I usually have these ones color coded. Ah, there we are. Yep. Knew I had one. Maybe even 2 or 3. They almost always have this transparent color about them. Yeah, USB type B, but I like to call them the bread loaf connectors. It's far more interesting to call it a bread loaf connector. Who wants to be boring and normal and use the correct terminology? Do you see AVE complying to that? No sirree, he does not. He'll tell you that's a was a vanfakakala, which actually sounded more flippin' Asian than Canadian, but anyway, you get my drift. Yeah, what would he call it? It wasn't a moo. And hilariously, that is not the original chip, but we'll clone it anyway, just to test it. History, grep, mini, mongrel, locate, mini pro. There we go. Okay, mini pro. I should just create a batch script that gets it for me rather than have to remember every damn time what I'm looking at. I don't even know what chip this is. How can I not have? No. Crud. What are you? You're an MX25L640. MX25L640 E7. Not that that usually matters at the end there. What desktop environment do you use? It's Fluxbox. So yeah, it's not something that people would normally be used to. Okay. Mini Pro. Can't enumerate it. Useless piece of junk. Unable to enumerate. What do you got? A bad cable? Let's try a different port. Trying a different port will probably result in crashing the whole system. Yeah, that's the ideal way this all works. Let's plug it into USB 3 and see what happens. That's it. Now we got it. Come to life. Probably just didn't have enough power going to it. Remind me to batch process this or put this in a batch script, shell script. So we want Mini Pro minus R 8203476 donor bin. That's P. Damn it! What was this? MX something. I'm starting to feel like an abject failure right now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. MX25L640. MX25L640. I feel like though I'm missing a key item here because I actually need to tell it what device to read from. Oh, what's going on here? Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Pedro. Normally, why do I have issues remembering this? Okay, no. Quit. MX. X25L64. Okay, so that's all our possibles. E. Yeah, found it. There we go. Now we wait. Victor Nang, yeah, it's probably easier, but at least this is more generic. Like no matter what chip I've got, I can pretty much do it. And the fact that it's not reading code right now does seem to indicate that the donor might have been a data too. Unsure, Anton, if it would read or not. Work. There are often issues with the translations, particularly when it comes to USB devices. Yeah, that ain't reading. Something's not right there. And try that again, just in case. Okay, it must have just been a bad connection. OTP is one-time programmable, yeah, but you should. I mean, obviously you can read it indefinitely. Interesting. I just stopped reading at 10. I don't know whether I've got issues with my USB devices because I've got so many USB devices hanging off this system. It shouldn't be taking this long, so I'm unsure whether I've got issues internally. By the way, it's normally not this much drama. It's just I'm forgetting everything these days. I might have to change cable, perhaps. And the other thing is, once I do the shell script, at least I've done it, and it shouldn't have to be done anymore. Yep, this is... I don't know whether the chip's faulty or whether it's the reader that's... Nah, I think it might actually be this cable. I'll try a different cable. Either that or it's the USB ports. Yeah, that's it. Stray, that is the Arduino one. I think it came with a AVR ISP2, this one. So you are quite right to be rather suspicious of it. I do have a better one here that came with a printer, so we'll try that one. So here we go now. Definitely doesn't like running off those ports. It's happy with the USB 3 ones. I'm going to put a different chip on there. Maybe the chip's a bit iffy. I'm unsure. We'll put the original one that is supposed to be the one that we're reading in there. Could also be the dodgy soldering. Don't fret too much about the trolls. Not like they can do much. The best they're going to do is tell you where to go to see cute girls. But then they'll probably use potato cameras or something, and there'll just be some randomly changing 144p background. Ow, 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 ow. It's just a little bit warm. Not telling you, Pedro, you can go to your Norton website and get them there. Oh, whoops. We've got a different chip number, this one. What is this one? This is a 25Q064A. 25Q064A. Q064A. Okay, that's fine. Q064A. N at SOIC8. SOIC8. No, this has got the same issue. I'm really starting to think that it's my USB subsystem that's crapped out. Mr. Tim Tom, I'm actually trying to read the BIOS at this point. I don't know if I got dodgy cables or what, but it's certainly not. We'll try a sudo. What job is this? This is 151. Same crap. Could the adapter have issues? Let's give it a wash. I've normally never had this sort of level of drama with the chips before, so this is something new for me. People who've watched my stream for quite a while know in the past I have indeed used this device without any dramas. Well, it certainly picks it up okay. Yeah, it's like it goes 1-2% and then just gives up. Okay, I'm gonna try a different USB port again. Probably gonna cause absolute chaos. Okay, that's working at least. No, it looks like it was just a crappy... Didn't like sitting in the USB 3 port card, but now that I've got it on one of the main board USB 3 ports, it seems fine. I'm not going to reboot the system, it's Linux. How dare you suggest rebooting Linux? Don't you know, uptime is the key of superiority? It's your measure. So I've got an uptime of several thousand days. It's one of those stupid competitions that nerds have. Gummy State, the main reason I'm not thinking that the BIOS has been shonky is because both BIOSes misbehaved in the same way. And in the end it looks like it was just a case of it being a USB port that was upset. Mezzietti, it is a desktop known as Fluxbox. It's a fairly minimalistic system. It's not truly minimalistic, but it's fairly minimalistic. Okay, alright, so we've read that, and that actually read fine. So I'm pretty damn sure that if we put this one in as well, it will also read fine. Okay, where's that? I should really just have some high temperature jeweler's putty or something like that. That would work much better. There's a putty like substance you can get that jewelers use, and you can stick devices in it and it doesn't get upset by the heat too much. But I haven't been able to find it. I think it's called heck, now I can't remember. I think it's called PIC or something like that. At least that's what they call it. Pinch. I think it's Pinch. That's it. And I haven't been able to find any that seems to be good, or available for that matter. Blue tack will have a tendency to melt rather rapidly under the heat. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Jeweler's Pinch. It's basically high temperature blue tack. So there you go. Okay, so what is going on around here that's causing all this drama? It seems to be something around here due to the fact that whenever I meddle with this stuff around it, it does have a behavior change. I'm just going to put the original chip back on the board for now. Oh man, I hate it when I leave threads everywhere. Someone forgot to put the fume hood on. No, I'm definitely not going to reflash the chip. First rule I have with any board is never to reflash the original chip. You do that and you're just asking for trouble. I will take another chip, a donor chip, and I will flash that and test, but I will never reflash an original chip. They're cheap enough that you don't have to do that. I mean, they're plentiful enough, they're everywhere. Because you can just take one of these off another different board as long as it's obviously the same number. But yeah, reflashing the original chip is just asking for trouble. Yeah, Anton, I'll be checking that. I just wanted to sort of try and eliminate variables first, so I just want to... It's all part of the process, the sequence. Can't jump the gun. Yeah, we're down again in 5, so that's alright. I'm going to rotate and measure the resistors. I'm just tinning them before I rotate them. And I'm not doing a good job of it because what I'm going to be doing. Okay, that moved too quickly off. See how that just quickly jumped off when I was tinning it? I wasn't really touching it that much, and it just jumped off. So that could be our culprit. It's the other reason why I go along and try to tin them, because often it's a quick and easy way of finding out which one's the culprit. So we'll just take that off, discard it, and put a different one on. It looks like it was barely... Actually, yeah, let's zoom in first. Yeah, that looks like it was barely making contact there. So we'll get rid of it, put a new one on, and see how it goes. It could well be a perfectly fine resistor and the connection was the guilty party, but resistors are like peasants. You can just, yeah, they're cheap and plentiful, just get rid of them. It's for the greater good of the kingdom. Until, of course, they revolt against you and, well, you know, hopefully you won't be the king that gets his head cut off, or the queen that gets their head cut off. Hopefully it'll be the next generation. The peasants are resisting. That's actually well punned, sir. Alright. Well, chances are it's probably not fixed, but I guess we'll see, eh? Nope, not fixed. Jeweler's pitch or jeweler's pinch? Let me have a look at that. Yeah, that actually might be it, Greg. It looks pretty damn disgusting in that picture. It just looks like something they picked up from the side of the road of a dog park, but maybe they can have a nicer colour. Victor, ni hao? Ni hao ma? Well, I guess we're going to have to rotate the resistors off and see that their values are good. And looks like I just got a +1 bonus from Victor for actually adding the question mark onto my word, my statement. Jim, it's alright. Crap. Jim, it's okay. I speak Chinese to Victor. Hey, ITC? No, unfortunately I can't. Sorry, Victor. Mistaken identity there. I've corrected the situation. And it looks like people with bad names are turning up. Hey Jason, yeah, we hit the mark this weekend by the looks of it. So let's see, 33. Okay, 33 is good. 33 for this one too. Yep, that's good. Okay, should be 0 ohms. Yep, that's close enough. That should also be 0. Sorry about it going out of focus, unfortunately the board does tilt. Yep, that's good. Okay, this bottom one should be 100K. Yep. And the one above it should be 0. Yep, so they're all good. Rotate them back. And Nelson, just Nelson. Actually, I need my slightly smaller tweezers. These are my iPhone tweezers. Ah, you tombstoning bagger. Sorry. Interesting that you can't seem to remove the timeout on people. That's a little bit frustrating. I'm not sure if one of those has been sent to me or not. Maybe one day I'll get around to it. It's pretty rare for me to have to do BIOS jobs like this. Anyway, let's get on with measuring stuff. Might just do the quad view. Where's my quad view? Right. 620, so 33. Yep. 0. Yep. 33. Yep. It'd be very surprising if this one's out, but anyway, 0. Yep. And 3K3, okay, that'll be a tricky one. And 3K3 it is. Alright. Okay, time to check some continuity. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, the continuity is good all around too. I'm really starting to get a little bit stumped here. Not in a good way. Yeah, 140p, you know, that would be painful. The Mini Pro is good as a generic do-anything type programmer, whereas the Medusa is more of a dedicated device. Past 8:20, we've obviously got spammers galore, or robots galore rather, just crowding in because I'm sure as hell don't have 820 people in general looking in. It'd be a little bit weird. Switch over to main view. Oh, I'm starting to get Eli numbers. I hate it when I do that. I touch something, and there's not enough flux around it, and it creates that horrible mess on the solderer. Very frustrating. I really hope this isn't a case of a board that's got sort of a damage in one of the layers. That's going to be most unpleasant. Nope, down she goes. What is wrong with you? Could be anything in this area. We do have the SMC in that area, so maybe we'll give it a reflow. Who knows? Although it's rather predictable, so looks like I get a bit too much junk on here. I think I might change gloves. Put alcohol on my hands and then put my hands under the intake of the fume extractor. And it gives a nice cool effect, which means I can usually get my gloves back on. Well, a new set. If my viewing numbers go up much more, I'll have to start riding an electric bike around Charters Towers. I actually wouldn't mind doing that. Or better yet, electric motorbike, not an electric push bike. Victor Ella, time to go back. Show my students how to program Z80 using Sim51. Okay, Zaishan. Shishani. Thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate that. Sorry about that timeout. It won't happen again next time. And I have been doing my daily Chinese learning just takes so long to get the confidence to use it. Is Lewis giving you free flux? Nope, most certainly not. I have to pay for it out of my nose. No freebies here. I'm just looking around to see if I can see any possible damage somewhere. It's becoming a little bit frustrating because we've now had a couple of things we thought were going to be the cause. Like we had those pair of resistors that were a bit dodgy on the backside, and now they've been fixed up and it's still misbehaving. So yeah, it's getting a little frustrating now. Not quite sure what we're looking at. Because those resistors were over here. Alright, well, we'll give the SMC a reflow. Unfortunately, it looks like the kind of edge bonding that actually does not like to come up very nicely. It tends to just be blocky. It breaks away, things like that. So I'll get out my Grim Reaper tool. The one you did in the car drive to Towns was good. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I got a fair few people complaining that they wanted to see the road rather than me. And I thought, how rude. I understand though. It'd be nice to have a camera that would actually be able to do both at the same time. So yeah, you can get the view of me in a little picture-in-picture type effect while watching the road. That would work. Okay, it looks like this one's not going to be the blocky type. Interesting. It's like the night of me being wrong. The only other way I could think this might be happening though is if maybe it's not an original. Like maybe they've just added their own stuff after they did work on it. The Jason Claw. Huh. I call this the Grim Reaper. Oh, it's 007, just realised that. Oh, Jason as in Halloween Jason. I thought you meant like Jason Vilmer of STS. I was like, I don't recall him using these much, at least not for this sort of purpose. Hey Shane Russell. 30 minutes past. Yes, it is midnight at this point. So we're going to give this a reflow. I don't have the highest of hopes. I should actually check that we don't have... Yeah, we've got nothing underneath that I can feel. Alright, give it a few moments. Just putting the board through the turbo cooler. Right, so here we go now. I'll be shocked if anything has changed. Nope, still down. What's tripping it? Why does it keep sucking up 900 milliamp? I really would have thought it'd be close to 600, but I don't know. I don't know if I've got a. I wonder if I've got a spare one of these boards and I can actually compare it. Let's see if I've got one. Sorry. Let's see. I think I might have one here. Or at least similar enough, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think I've got a similar board here, so let's compare it. Yes, I have looked at the thermal cam on this. Okay. Worst case scenario, I can always just do a board swap. Yep, this is 343076, so we can do a direct comparison. We'll even put that in there. Oops. Kinda need this, don't you? Okay. Alright, well I saw it got up to 800, 900 there, so But that was momentarily. There, so see, this is sitting at 390, 400. So that is a big difference. But it's interesting to note that it did, at a moment, spike up to the 800, like 18 watts of consumption or so. And then it got past that and moved on back down to this more stable 400 type level. So I'm wondering if whatever the fault is, it's not getting past that state. It's sort of getting to what should be a transient state, as in for a very short time, but it doesn't. It gets stalled there. It's sitting on the 900. It then gives up, resets, and then comes back down, whereas this just straight away is all good and fine. So the 900 is not correct. Something's not right there. Let's have a look. See what our CPU voltage is. Okay, so 1.7 is good. Let's have a look at the thermal camera and see what it's got to say about this board. Yeah, it's a test board. It's a working board. It's like scenarios where I've got to do a swap over for somebody if required. It's getting upset now because it can't see a keyboard or anything. Ooh, who's in Sunshine Coast? Look at the resistors around the chip you replaced. I already have done that. We tested them all. Okay, first thing to notice is that, yes, the fan heat module, that's normal for it to get hot. The reason why it's not tracking on the board at the moment is this heat over here, that's caused by all of our hot air rework before. We can temporarily blind it from that. It's one of the features I might want to add to my software, but I just haven't had a chance to. Okay, so we've temporarily blinded it. This will seep through. There will, within a minute or two, you'll start to see this area come through. What is interesting is that we don't seem to have the same amount of heat on the MOSFETs. It's the coils in this case that are... I'm just getting the alignments right. There. So the coils are getting warm, but the MOSFETs are not. Whereas in the other one, the MOSFETs were getting quite hot. Yummy steak, yeah, maybe, but I think I'm kind of curious about this configuration, the situation that I've noticing that the coils under normal use should be getting warm, not the MOSFETs. Maybe we've got a dead MOSFET on the other one. No, it's not likely to be a coil. You can see the heat starting to creep through the thermal pad, the mouse pad already. Okay, we'll just swap it over and have a look at those coils again. I mean the MOSFETs. Maybe just stick it there and try and blind. I need like a ceramic board or something to hold back that heat. We'll fix it for you. What? Oh, right. I just realised what you were saying there. Okay, so here we go. So get my alignments right. Yeah, see, straight away you can see these MOSFETs are starting to get warm. Ice pack, yeah. That power's jumping around all that. Okay, good. Okay, so the CPU itself is actually getting pretty hot. So either we've got a dead CPU in one particular area. Yeah, choices. Any caps around the MOSFETs? No, you've only got these ones here and these ones here. It's interesting that one spot on the heatsink is getting quite hot there. So bring it... Oh, hello, the PCH is actually the hottest bit. Not the PCH. Yeah, that really is looking like the PCH there, because this little corner here is quite hot. That, I think if we go back to the other one, we won't see that. Try injecting 1 volt amps, see if you without the heat. I think it's almost a foregone outcome already. Conclusion. Had to get that word out, sorry. Okay, power. Let's see if our PCH gets hotter. It is the only part not obscure, but it also shouldn't be... Anyway, I'm more interested to see if does it change, or is it the same on this? If it's the same on this, then I'm not going to worry about it. But previously, usually areas on the CPU heatsink tend to get hotter than the PCH that I've seen, but... Okay, it looks like we might be... Alright, so we might actually still be in the same, but there's definitely the difference. Like I said, coil's getting warm, MOSFET's not. But then we wouldn't be getting the right voltage anyway. No, coils are definitely getting hotter. But that could be just because it's running. Hey, Untitled 83. Thing is, Victor, it should have run with that other chip that we used. Hey, Sadinki. Alright. I'll put this one away. That can be our fallback. If I can't fix the board or the board isn't fixable, we can just do a drop-in replacement, use that board. I mean, PC edge failure is comparatively common still. It's, what's cheating? Oh yeah, swatching. Yeah. Do you ever generally reflow the CPU? Only on 1534s. I mean, every now and then, if I'm testing to see if I have. What am I thinking? If I'm testing to see if I've got a faulty CPU that's intermittently faulty, then yeah, I'll give it a bit of a. I wouldn't call it a reflow, more of a just warming over, and that usually gets the board to shift a little bit and lets the balls shift around or any sort of cracks to change back. Okay. See, gate to good. Damn it. I think that was just a capacitor. Try the other way around. Okay, that is proper, but I don't think that's supposed to be the case. The software is running into issues because I'm still waiting on the driver to be finished for the Windows system. The Linux side is fine, but unfortunately the Windows side is not, and the Mac OS is also giving me a little bit of grief. I should not have. Oops. Now we'll go full schematic. I don't think I should have a low resistance or low diode mode between those. Okay, that's high side. Well, I guess the easiest way is I'll compare it to my good board rather than trying to use my brain. Could I sell it for Linux first? I could, yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. I could do that. I guess sort of just felt a little weird not to get out for Windows at the same. Yeah, okay. It looks like it is that case. Alright, that's fine. Oh, interesting. Negative, positive. I don't recall that one beeping. Well, clearly I didn't do it right before. Mm. Okay, let's go resistance. I don't know if these have the same CPUs, that's another problem. $63. $76. Can't argue with that. I genuinely feel like I'm just chasing trolls here. 1.6 megs. Okay, we got a major difference there, or maybe I didn't poke it enough. Okay, poke. Okay, so we got let's say we got 1 mega ohm there. Okay, and we're stabbing it pretty good and getting it out of focus there. So we got 1 meg. Let's try the other way around. And that is both ways, so it's 0.8, and it's dropping slowly though. Whereas if I go here, I got 150 ohms. And yet somehow I don't believe that that is actually wrong. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Something's meddling with the value here. So we've got 10 meg on that way. And 3 meg. These values are all over the place. There must be some charge in the caps. Hey, Mark Bianco, nice to see you. Ooh, yes, more ice cream pending. You know, you shouldn't have done that because now I'm thinking I'm going to go get some ice cream because it is past midnight. It's got to be, what, 1 o'clock now? Ah, I got to sneeze. Alright. You can all blame Mark, but I think I'm going to leave this till tomorrow. It's getting a bit late, and I think I'm now at the point where I'm going to be starting to do silly things. Like I'm going to go, ooh, I saw this measurement, so therefore I think it's this, and I'll rip out some parts, but it's simply because I misinterpreted what I was reading, or the multimeter was being influenced by, charge that was still in the board. So I'd say now's probably a good time to walk away from it and then attack it tomorrow. Sometimes you've got to do it that way. At least we do have a fallback solution. We've got this board here, which can be dropped in as a replacement if the customer has a desperate situation. And then we can always, in our own leisure time, repair this one, if we can. So we'll have to see what we can do. Yeah, the old grey cells need to relax and digest the issue. Maybe it'll come to me in a dream, perhaps. So, Paul, getting one of those new software developed Mac Minis. I don't think I will be. Maybe in another 10 years. More ice cream in Deadwood. That is correct. Yes, I'm on season 3 of Deadwood, so about another 6 or 7 episodes to go. But it's turning out to be a better series than I was anticipating. I'm glad to see that. But it was kind of funny to see some people from Deadwood that are actually also in Santa Clarita Diet, other than Timothy Oliphant. Alright. Okay, well, that's it. Sorry we didn't get a big win, but we got to mess around a little bit, I suppose, and a bit of entertainment, and tomorrow's another day. So in the meantime, you'll take care, and I will see you next time. Catch you.